We are here today with Gertraud Eregger. Hello, Gerti. Hello, Gertraud.
Hello.
She's part of the Talentor International Team, and together we are starting a new format, the Talentor Talks today, where we want to talk with experts about different topics and share brief insights, inspiration, learnings on global talent, leadership, explore the world of recruiting and all its facets. Gertraud is an expert in the field of cultural awareness in international settings and keeps on exploring what makes global leaders successful, both at work and in life. She lived and worked herself abroad, coaches leaders on global leadership challenges, and is also holding lectures in this field. Hello again, and thank you for your time. It's really nice to have you here at our first Talentor Talk. Do you mind introducing yourself and your role with Talentor a little bit?
Of course. Hi, Julia. I'm really happy to be here. And as we start this series, my name is Gertraud. I'm the project manager at the International Talentor Team. And as you said, I've been looking back to like a decade of working in recruitment, started in Austria and recruited IT specialists up to management roles. And then life took me abroad. So I've been living and working 5 years in East Africa and then in Jamaica. And those years, they really shaped me in terms of how I see the world and also how I've been studying what makes you successful abroad, both in life and at work. And at Talentor right now, I'm creating every month a space for all the partners to share and to connect in our partner call. I moderate the call, I plan it and prepare it. And then in November, I'll be back with more hours as I've been coming back just from my second maternity leave.
That sounds so interesting. You have great experience. And that's my first question, actually. What is your experience with different cultures in a business setting?
Yeah, the experience that shaped me most and that I'm always referring to was my time working abroad in Ethiopia. I've been leading a local team there, all Ethiopians, and we were going through a big transformation and new strategy setup. And I think I've made a lot of also mistakes at the beginning. I've been a lot like rushing and really having the solutions in my mind, coming with all these like ideas from Austria. And I've really learned a lot of lessons and learned through my local team actually what it needs to really be present and really understand the culture, really understand the team, and really understand also the speed in the market, which was by that time a completely crazy market growth rate. So I've been learning and I've been my leadership style and all my global experience was really rooted there, I have to say. And in general, I feel as a leader or as a person, you can never grow more than living outside of your home and working there and really understanding a completely new setup and new complete environment.
That sounds so amazing. And is there any like specific or significant memory that stuck to your mind with your first interaction with a completely different culture?
I always think back of the mentors and people around me also that shaped me, especially in this first year in Ethiopia. Those were also expats that were just coming to the country and that were already really immersed into the culture. And I got 2 tips. One was really start connect with your team and listen and learn bits of the language. So I learned Amharic, I learned some like, parts of the language. And I really learned to understand the legacy of the company and what we are building on, so we can take it forward to the next part. And the second experience, I'm always also, I think what really shaped me as well was then moving to Jamaica, to another part of the world, and waking up and really kind of like recreating my career there. And there actually also was the time when Talentor came back to to me, and we started working together. So I've been working like in this hybrid virtual and in-personal setting since many years. And I've been really learning how to create a lifestyle that includes remote working for different parts of the world and also working in the country. And by then I had a lot of like workshops, and I was working also in Jamaica with companies, kind of like in my afternoons, to have this mix of remote and also local experience. And that really, like the vibes of Jamaica and also the pride of the people, the confidence, the enormous resilience of the people also going through COVID, it really shaped me as well in many ways. So I learned a lot, in both experience. I learned most from the people actually, and learning from them what it really takes to live in a very uncertain world.
That really sounds like you made the most of it, like personally and professionally, from your experiences abroad. And what are your biggest learnings from your time abroad, like regarding the culture? You already said you have to get to know them, but what were the biggest learnings?
For any leader coming to a new country, the biggest learning and the biggest reminder we need to put on all our laptops is to find a way to listen first and to learn and really understand what you're building on. I feel that's something we always fast track, we rush, and then we're in the middle of doing, and we are forgetting that connecting with the team and really getting the trust of your team and also your boss. So you really need to find and really form this power team. And you also need to have this power team at home, which is the second big pillar that you really need to be successful abroad as well.
And can you identify like the main or the top 3 success factors to consider when working with other cultures?
Yeah, for me, it really struck me when I was like interviewing, I guess it was over 100 executives, leaders coming from different cultures, working in different countries. I was always fascinating. Okay, what makes you thrive? What makes you not enjoy this time? What makes you always be in the future and actually you only want to go home? So I've been studying those themes. And what I've seen in all the leaders that were really successful and also satisfied both at work and at life was that they were leading from a very open mindset. So they had an incredible ability to think in opportunities and to turn challenges into an opportunity in a very challenging market, in very like uncertain times. Now, after COVID, I mean, all the markets have this rapid uncertainty. But in some countries, this is like the day, it's every day. So this one, very open mind. And the second one was also the ability to really lead from a very kind heart. So they were able to be very empathic with whoever they meet. They were very grounded and very hands-on, and really understood, like if they are leading a factory in another country, they were really understanding, okay, this is who is in charge of our factory line, and I really want to understand what drives them and why are they here. So that groundedness and like hands-on mentality, I think it's really important for a global leader who kind of like connects to the people, and then everyone is on board to make a very drastic change happen.
And now, as we are talking about international cultures all the time, and also Talentor is working internationally, how would you prepare yourself for working in an international setting when you start with that?
Here, what I always tell anyone who leaves, I've heard one time the sentence, never leave before you leave. It's from the CEO of Yahoo. And I feel that's very important so that you are not too early on in the future. So because sometimes you're sent abroad and it takes another like 6 months or 5 months of preparation. And a lot of times we lose ourselves and we are already in the future. So it's that ability to still stay present and of course to combine that with a good level of preparedness. But I would rather like really look into like reading and understanding the context, maybe the history, the people, and then of course there is a lot of logistics. But that emotional piece and that really understanding of the new country, that's very important, because that's your connector to the people. This is where you are really present and you're like, okay, you know, sometimes it's just news in the news, like you're reading the newspaper and there's a headline. That's something you can really connect to, versus being that person coming day one at the office and then you are like rushing through your to-do list and everyone is like, whoa, okay, what's going on? And those are those really moments at the beginning. They say those first 90 days, they're really important to connect with your team and create this trust with your core team members.
Yes, and you know, like you prepare for your international experience, and as Talentor is also like recruiting internationally, I'm sure there is also some challenges when recruiting internationally. What have you experienced?
Yeah, I feel the time now to expand your market and recruit globally has never been like, yeah, more massive than now. Like everyone is kind of like recruiting people from any part of the world. I think that's really a gift as well, because you are able to tap into a full resource of new talent and new perspectives and new ideas. And then also I feel the dark side is that some organizations, they still think we are like in a silo or in a container, so the decisions might be slow. So I feel as a company, really matching with global talent is really important that you prepare yourself as well for that. It's really the organization that needs to be prepared and really connects also with the person. So really connecting, okay, why would you come to us? What's your, like, you know, what's the win-win of hiring you? How can you learn with us? How can you grow with us? And how can we both make this a really cool experience? It's not babysitting the candidate, but it's really connecting with the candidate and then seeing, okay, this really makes like sense, and now let's create this like journey and the move together, and let's really support each other in many ways. So the more, of course, as an organization you support the candidate with coming to you, the better. And also I feel it's really the organization as well to be prepared to bring this new person with the new experience and the new perspective into the team. So also shaping the local team to understand each other as well.
And I actually have a little bit of a selfish question now, because I'm going abroad soon. So do you have some tips for people that are going abroad and will live and or work in other cultures?
I feel the biggest tip is to find a way to always get back to the presence. Right now, I feel there is a lot going on in the second world, which is the social media world, which is kind of like real, but it's also already, it happened. So it's very easy to completely lose yourself in social media, or like worrying what is going on after your semester abroad, for example, and then you're kind of like too much in your in your voice or in your head, versus creating like really creating an experience every day, kind of like create a mini moment where you rest and where you just see and explore and listen and understand every day. And it could be just in a coffee shop that you explore, or if you really love to do yoga, you find a yoga spot. So really put those activities that nurture yourself, you put them on top of your to-do list. And then, of course, the rest, which is studying and connecting and having just a blast there. So when I, like in your case, when I look back to my semester abroad, of course, I really do recall the times in the train in Barcelona, going there, studying. But what's always strikes me was, or what still is with you, is actually the friendships. So from my time abroad, I'm still in a WhatsApp contact with one of my friends, and even we work together, and I feel those connections in the community you create, this will be your biggest gift. And that's the same if you work abroad later, or if you're in a global team always from home, those connections and the friendships and the community you create when you open up and you're just curious. I think that's the biggest gift you can have. And that curiosity is also like the key for leading a team. I feel that like big part.
I will definitely take that tip with us to create memories and not live in the future or in the social media world. We talked a lot about like living and working internationally, but I want to come back to a company that is internationally. And do you have recommendations like for organizations when they already recruited global talent to keep them and to retain them and to create their global career path?
I love that question, because this, again, also it sounds quite easy, but I feel as an organization, you really you really need to both create this experience and understand each other. So giving that perspective, especially right now when the markets are growing so fast, is very important. And I feel really shaping that to making sure that you can like work your passion and that you're in the right spot with the right framework. Like also, of course, we're talking about opportunities to work flexible and to be really like find a good agreement. But I still, for me, I feel this is like the frame. And a lot of times we put so much effort on all the benefits and that we are also flexible. But I feel we really need to connect with that core work we are doing and that we really see an impact with our clients or the solutions or the products we create. I feel it's really important as an organization to go deep here. And then I feel the people will also stay because they just love the team they're in, they love the speed they're working on. They need a clear vision. Where are we heading? Does this make sense? Like all those factors, I feel you really need to invest time as an organization to get clarity, and so you're also able to articulate that, because after a while those questions will come from the talent you recruit from somewhere in the world, and they will ask like, okay, but why do we do that, and where are we heading, and how can I be part of that? And the minute you make them part of that future journey, you have them. And I feel also there are no like 5 or 10 year career plans anymore. So that agility is definitely like, we need to work with that agility.
That is really true. And if people don't feel like they belong to the company and see the value, they will change for sure, and fast as well. So I think it's very important for companies to realize that. So thank you also for the tip for the companies. And I know that you have worked internationally more than most of the people. So I wanted actually to have a personal question for almost the end. What do you think is so great about working internationally?
It's almost like I was thinking about that question a bit before, and I was thinking like, if you compare it with like a surfer or a swimmer, let's say, and you are like used to swimming in a lake and you really love that, and then one more time you're like swimming and surfing in the big ocean and the sea, kind of like if you really love that feeling of being together in a very global team and just really experiencing what it takes to build a new home in another country and really work there, I feel then you can't go back. It's like you really love that diversity that is every day around you. And of course you can also have that locally, but the combination of then coming home and still exploring a new country and still creating a very ordinary life there. So it's not that you're always traveling and that your life is so fancy. Basically you have a very like rhythm, and you have your barbecues and you have your new friends and your new neighbors. But I feel when you live abroad, this is really fast tracked, and I feel it's just a really very powerful experience also for your career. So when I see who is progressing into leadership levels and how organizations can really build up a talent pool that is able then to come into C-level or even above, the experience abroad is like a catalyst. Like you've never been learning more when you work in a completely different market. So it's almost like this, I don't know, experiment pool as well for talent and for the organization as well. So I feel it's a fantastic opportunity to grow personally and to grow also professionally in ways that you could not have experienced before.
Yeah, I also thought about it actually. And I think that even when you're not abroad, but you're working in an international team, you always get the cultural diversity and so different views and inputs from other countries and cultures that it's actually feeling like little bit you're abroad and meeting new people because it's so diverse. And that's actually what I love about working with Talentor, with the team, because it's so international.
Yeah, absolutely. This is actually what's really fascinating about the group, because it's this conglomerate of very, very different recruiters and founders, and they really love their work. They're really passionate about the recruiting, like, and really like working with extraordinary clients, and this is what bonds us. And then we are also all very different and sitting in different markets, and I feel that kind of like this is really shaping the group as well, because you get way more ideas, way more opportunities, and just also different solutions to the everyday problems we have.
Yeah, that is so true. And you know, we are almost at the end now from our interview, and enjoyed it really much. And we had so many great inputs today. So maybe we can summarize the most important things, like a little bit for all the people that did not pay attention the whole time. At first we talked about different cultures in a business setting and biggest learnings and success factors for that. Can you just like make a short summary about that?
Yeah, the success factors for both companies and for leaders in the global context, I feel, are three. One is listen, both as organization to understand the talent, and also for the person coming into a new environment, so you truly understand. And the second is the true connection to your team and your team members, and especially also to your boss. And the third one is, I feel, almost also both for the person moving and also the organization, to create moments of rest, to get your energies back. And also as an organization, when we go through so much rapid change, it would mean that you give enough time to celebrate milestones, to look back, to be, like to have a moment of breathing before you get on to the new goals and milestones.
Thank you. And like our second big topic was working, or like preparing for working and recruiting internationally. Can you also tell us like 2 sentences about that?
I feel like as an organization, if you see it as a journey with your candidate or the person you want to hire, create the entire recruiting path as a journey and be really mindful of all the connection points. If you say you are, so different in how you work, and, like you're embracing all the new work principles, then also your recruitment process might feel very personal and might feel also different. So I feel that authenticity throughout that candidate experience, how we say, I think it's really important. And also, you really need to hire and make your decision fast, and then go forward with that person. There is no time of, as we used to have like 10 years ago. It's completely different right now.
That's true. You really have to be fast recruiting, otherwise the people are gone. And the last thing we discussed was in terms of organizations, what can they do to get and retain their global talents?
Here again, to always go deep in terms of why the people are here and what is their impact and what is like the also what is their passion, what do they really love. I feel that focus is really important, to have this focus. And then of course you create the environment for that and all the benefits, but I do feel to really go to that core and make sure that this person can learn and also is really on the right spot to contribute. That's like the base for anyone to see a future in the organization, and to really make this connection. Okay, where am I in this vision? Can I shape this vision, and how does this look like?
Yeah, it shifts towards that, like more and more, I think. And I wanted to say like a big thank you to you for starting the Talentor Talk series with me. And before we stop, is there anything else you want to add, like a last sentence?
Thank you, Julia. Right now, I feel I'm really curious who else will be part of the Talentor Talks. Like it gives such a cool combination and opportunity to share and to hear people from our network, but also even perhaps like clients who we are impacting as Talentor. So I'm really curious to see that diversity also in these talks coming up.
Thank you and have a great day. I think your tips are really amazing for companies and people around the world.
Thank you, Julia.